Alrighty, guys, welcome to the charting session tonight. It is Thursday, June 15th. Had a pretty big rally day today. Not too many insane. The best trade opportunity is we had in the morning. Ended up missing the fill for it, and then I ended up taking one trade today and ended up taking an L after missing that. So we'll go over kind of everything today. So going into today, last night's charting session kind of went over exactly what today was actually going to happen. So from tomorrow night, this is kind of where we were. I was expecting price to most likely pull back into this fair value gap. I said if we were going to continue to hold this fair value gap, I'd want to see that breakout and buy model to then buy out of this fair value gap to then take that recent high. If we end up breaking through this fair value gap, then we could potentially see sell side become the draw and then look to see these lows down here get swept. But we ended up holding this fair value gap. So what do we look for? We look for internal model, right? Going down to a smaller time frame, looking at the 5-minute, you can see had market structure shift, big displacement, right? We have internal liquidity being swept right here. We had all these equal lows, came down, swept it, instant move back to the upside, market structure shift, pull back to a fair value gap. Now there was a 5-minute fair value gap we ended up pulling back to. Now, in this time, I was looking for an entry on NQ, and I was looking to see discounted entry down here. Never ended up getting pulled back. Now, where should I have entered? I should have entered here in the morning when we formed this SMT. NQ, if I pull up NQ, again, same thing on NQ, looking at the 15-minute. We continue to hold this 15-minute fair value gap. We came down, swept these equal lows. We had clear market structure shift. We had clear internal being swept, move down, move back up. Literally a clear model. 5-minute fair value gap. I wanted to see a pullback to this 5-minute fair value gap to look long. I was a little bit too picky. I didn't need to see it. But once we came back down and we continued to hold this 5-minute fair value gap, we were forming SMT here. This is where I should have went long. This should have been no hesitation, but I ended up being a little bit too picky on this play. I wanted to see a little bit lower. I wanted to see that low get swept. Even though we already were forming SMT, we were continuing to hold that 5-minute fair value gap. I ended up being a little bit too picky. And once we ended up bouncing, I looked to take, look for a long entry and a fair value gap. Never ended up coming back down to that either. And I ended up missing, this big whole move to that buy side level. So really, really nice long opportunity. I know some people in the lives that ended up taking this here. I should have just, jumped in on that break, to catch that move. I was expecting this big move, right? I was confident and we were going to get a big move to buy side just based off structure. I was pretty confident. I was a little bit picky with my entry. Now, it's a good thing to be picky, but sometimes, right, you want to realize that as long as you can put risk on the table, the biggest thing is as well is if I'm afraid, right, the way that I should think about it is if I'm afraid that, let's say I enter here and it does come back to where I would enter. Okay, well, how about this? Maybe say enter half my size here. If it does go in my favor, then I'm already in half size. I can, capitalize on that and then maybe, add my full position somewhere up here, maybe. But if we were to come back down here, I can then look to add my full position down here. Or if I even get stopped out, I'm still going to be stopped out, half my position. So I'd still be fine with that either way. That's probably the way I should have gone about it. Once we did see this SMT form, we were holding this 5-minute fair value gap, tons of volume. I had a super bullish bias. That is when I should have started loading those longs, but I ended up missing out on this move. And it happens. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it, so then the next trade I took, again, not the best setup, actually, looking back, not a clear break of structure whatsoever. I did look to take NQ shorts. We had a 15-minute high being swept, and we had a fair value gap here. I looked to see displacement to the downside. I marked this as our break of structure. Again, this is not really a clean break of structure. We have a small little low here, and then it gets broken, but it's not super clean. I would want to see, this low get put in, and then see, this low get broken with big volume, right? That'd be clean break of structure. So this wasn't very clean. This was not, that good of a short trade. I ended up taking an L on the day. After I took an L here, decided probably just to call it there, right? A lot of the times after, those first couple setups, there's not a lot of opportunity in the rest of the day. You can see we just kind of trend the rest of the day. We'll see maybe if there was possibly a scalp setup. Now, we did have this SMT here, but after this SMT, we didn't really get a fair value. Actually, we kind of did here. It didn't really get touched, though. But that could have been a scalp model setup targeting buy side. Maybe there were some other ones as well we can look at. But yeah, pretty much the best trade today was in the morning, that original long setup. Again, everything we want, internal sweep, clear market structure, clear pullback to fair value gap. We're holding well. And then beautiful move to buy side. Again, once again, our bias is correct. Our, everything that we said was going to happen happened. That's what we need to focus on as well. Now we just got to, practicing executing, right? Mastering the execution. That is when we were just a little bit off today, is just the execution. But I do want to look back, possibly see if there was any sort of scout model. So looking at it, we do have an SMT formed here. You can see we had a low put in here. Looking at NQ, we ended up sweeping this low here. Did we have a fair value gap after? We did, but we've already swept buy side beforehand. We ended up coming back, touching this, and then, sweeping that high here. But once we ended up coming back to this, we've already swept that previous buy. So I probably would not have taken that. Probably would not have taken that on ES either. No SMT here. Now we did having this SMT to this low. Pull back. Actually never really got that. Again, wouldn't have taken this either because buy side was already met. And before we came back to that fair value gap. Buy side met here. Did we ended up sweeping? So this would be a good trade here. This would have been a clear scout model setup, right? Pull back to that discounted area. SMT. Have kind of this clear downtrend. Nice little low resistance liquidity run. Buy side up here. Big move up. SMT. Look for whatever the first fair value gap is. Boom. Enter long. Targeting that buy side level. That would have been a nice trade. And then leave those runners. Also on ES as well. Clear buy side here. Take that first fair value gap after that SMT. Long for value gap targeting buy side. That would have been another good scalping model setup. What would you rate this setup? It's not a bad setup. Is there SMT? I think that's the same one that I'm looking at right now, isn't it? 1030. Or no? Now that we took weekly highs, next draw all-time high on NQ. Potentially, again, a lot of the time, again, I'm still at that point where, we're super bullish, but I want to see how, the next month kind of starts to play out, because looking at the weekly chart, we're looking super bullish. We've just swept this weekly high now. So now I want to see, how the next week is going to play out, and especially how this week's going to end. Are we going to get, is weekly candle going to close tomorrow under this level? Or are we going to close above it? And then also going into next week, are we going to, have a continuation push, or are we going to, get that sell off back inside the range? If that does happen, then we could possibly, see higher or see back lower. So a lot of it just depends on, how the weekly candles start to close. That's why I'm not too focused on external buy side levels getting swept. And I'm not, really focused on, to see a sell off until we get, actually a weekly candle start to, sell back off. How's our economy producing this bullish price action? Market does what it wants. All-time high on NQ. These new contracts don't show it for me. All-time high on NQ would be. Let me go to weekly, or so go monthly. All-time high on NQ would be 17,300 around. Can you explain the new channel in the Discord from Shy? What do you mean? Oh, shot. Oh, if you're new, shot. So Shai was an analyst for us. He's a volume profile trader. So he helps out in the chat and posts some videos as well. Look at the monthly buy model. Actually, I probably see it on the weekly better. Can we go over the NQ trade and try and figure out why it didn't work? So it did work. That's the thing. It's just I just ended up missing my entry. So the trade ended up doing exactly what I knew it was going to do. We just ended up missing my entry. I was just a little bit skeptical on it. I wanted to see retrace to discount, but I should have been a little bit less picky and entered on once we started to hold the fair value gap. So looking at the 5 minute, we had 2 fair value gaps here, right? Once we broke this structure, I wanted to see us come back down to this fair value gap and go back to discount. If I drew in that high that we put in and then I put in that low, I wanted to see this little low get taken here. So if I go down to that 1 minute, right, we had a clear low here. I was looking to see this low get swept and then get that bounce, but we never ended up coming down to that level. So I was I was looking to take longs here, but I should have ended up entering a little bit here because we already had that SMT and we were holding that bigger time frame for buy gap as well. Oh, the one we took. Okay, so the one we took, the reason why this one wasn't, didn't work out that well is because there was no clear market structure shift on this. The market structure shift that I drew in was a little bit sketch. This was a premature entry. So a lot of the times, if I wanted to enter this, since we were super strong, I should have waited for at least a bigger time frame confirmation or a clearer market structure shift. The 1 minute that I was looking at, I entered it in a little bit too tight, and I wanted to see a significant low. Right, this would have been a significant low if we ended up coming down and then broke this right with big displacement, and then I would look to take some sort of short if we were to take out this low. Right, but this low was a little bit too early, too premature. Yeah, exactly. It wasn't a terrible trade, right? You were still trading more edge. We have external swept, bad break of structure and a fair value gap retrace, but the biggest thing was that break of structure, and we had a lot of strength going into it. Yeah, plan for tomorrow. So let's take a look at ES first, and then we'll go over NQ. So looking at ES, right? Again, looking at the weekly time frame, we've now swept this buy side level. So we'll see if we end up getting any selling pressure back to the downside. Again, we've just had a continuous monster move back up. Where can we expect to displace? Probably back to discount. So what am I expecting? Probably I would want to see a retracement of this range back to discount of this area. So this 4435 area, 44340 is where I would want to see us retrace back to. Looking at the 1 hour, we have some fair value gaps down here as well as this big fair value gap down here. So I would like to see ES sell back into this area in the overnight session. Again, we're still super strong. I still think we could possibly go higher, but I would like to see us come down, possibly sweep some of these lows here, and then look to, form a buy model once we come back into these imbalances, and then look to maybe take it back up. But right now, since we've had this big move up, I'd want to see a little bit more structure start to form, and then look to take a possible long entry back to the upside. But right now, not really interested in touching it until we start to get more structure on ES. I'd like to see a sell off back into that discounted range, and then look to see what kind of structure forms down there, and then maybe see if we can get a push to the upside, get a clearer draw on liquidity. So looking at NQ, again, similar thing. We're super strong. We're continuing to push all-time highs. We have this 4 hour fair value gap. So we know, again, most likely the draw on liquidity is going to be the candle body, because we know we're going to probably go back into this 4 hour fair value gap. So zooming down, we know we're probably going to come back to this level. Let me take all this stuff off here so we clean up the charts a bit. All right. So again, looking at ES or NQ, similar thing. Would want to see a retrace back to discount. 1 hour time frame, we have these fair value gaps and balances. I'd want to see us come back to Again, taking the big, recent leg of this move, would want to see us retrace back to discount. We have a fair value gap right here on the 1 hour. Possibly see that come back to, possibly bounce off of as well. 30-minute fair value gap down here. So going into tomorrow, again, a lot of it's going to depend on what happens in the overnight session. So if we end up, making new highs in the overnight session, then, I'd look to just stay patient. Want to see more structure going into tomorrow. If we end up selling off in the overnight session, possibly retracing back to discount, then I could potentially look to see if we can get, that reversal back to the upside, and then, see if we get, another push back to buy side. Any questions? Again, since structure is kind of, it's just been a straight up move, I'd want to see more structure start to form now. When we see ES and NQ both take out a high or a low, do I need to see both displays back into the range for an entry? Most of the time, yes. Most of the time when it's a, a valid break of structure, you'll see both, both parties start to sell off. But not always. You don't need it, but a lot of the times you'll see it happen. You swing longs on the small account? I don't. I don't really swing on the small account, to be honest. I like sleeping at night. When I know I have an open position, it just fucks with me. Would you take a long if ES or NQ sweeps the low made at 13.15, even though it's not technically a discount? 13.15. Would I take a long if we sweep this low? Probably not. I mean, unless we get, some sort of, setup for it. If there's a setup for it, then maybe. Like if we, zoom in, we come down, sweep this level, and then we get, internal, and a clear setup back up, then yes. That'd be an okay trade to take. Again, but looking at bigger time like this, we have a big range right here now, right? So I'd like to see us retrace the discount of this range. Again, a lot of the time it's not going to be, that clean. It's going to be like, and then we get down here, and then we have all this low resistance liquidity right here, right? And then we, have that breakout move to the upside, exactly what we had today, right? We have clear buy side, have all these, choppy moves high, all this low resistance liquidity, and then we get, that big move to the upside to take all those highs out. That's exactly what I'm expecting to now form again. Again, you can't expect to get the same move every single day, right? After expecting, this kind of move, again, you can expect either some sort of consolidation, retracement the next day, Can't sleep overnight with an open position. I have insomnia. Would you short targeting 50% of that range if you get a model? If you get a clean model, right now there's really nothing for you to trade here. Again, you don't need to, again, the way that I think about it is don't look to the trade. If it is a good trade, it will call out to you. If you're constantly looking to take some sort of trade, it's going to be a bad setup. Right now, let the market, start to build some structure behind itself. If you want to take a trade, practice it on a small account or practice it on a paper trade account, right? But right now, we just had a big move up. I'd want to see structure first go back to 50%, then start to see a reversal, then look to take that A+ setup back to the upside, right? That's what's going to actually start to build profitability over time. And you're going to see more consistency if you actually get even more picky with how you trade and only take those good setups like that. But again, you can expect to see, that kind of move. One of the bigger aha moments I've had that I don't really plan on taking a short or a long anywhere. I wait for structure to form to tell me that one of those positions has potential. Exactly. You're not trying to, like, again, I'm not trying to predict, are we going to go back to buy side now? Or are we going to go back to, discount now? I want to wait for one of those to actually happen, wait to see structure start to form, When structure forms, structure will tell me when the next draw on liquidity is. Right now, a lot of people are like, okay, what's the draw on liquidity? I could not tell you what the draw on liquidity is right now just by looking at the chart. In my opinion, I think it's going to be this low. The reason is because we have a 4-hour fair value gap. Again, we have most of the time we're going to pull back to this fair value gap. So I can tell you pretty confidently that this is the draw. But I can't tell you, is this going to be the draw? Is the high going to be draw? I can tell you this little low here, but look how close we are, right? So until I get more structure being like, okay, maybe we come down here, maybe we come down, sweep this low, maybe we get, big move back up. Then I can tell you, okay, just based off, now that we've formed some structure inside of this range, then I can tell you, okay, the draw is probably going to be higher based off of, okay, we've came back to discount, we've swept some sort of level, we have internal swept, break a structure, we're starting to, displace higher, we're holding, bullish fair value gaps, we're breaking through bearish fair value gaps. That is all of that stuff combined gives me confidence on the draw, and then I can look to take a trade. Get it. The biggest thing I think in trading, if you want to become more profitable, more consistent, is you have to be picky. Like I had somebody comment on my TikTok today saying they were break even on the day. They had 3 wins and 3 losses. You should not be taking 6 trades. If you're trading the way I do, you should not be taking 6 trades. There should not be that many opportunities, especially there's not many that A setups that you can see in a day, right? Once you focus on only taking, B plus, A minus, A plus setups, you will see so much more consistent and profitable growth from yourself. Did you take a second trade? Nope, I only took that one trade today. Again, I don't care to, chase. A lot of the times, once people, miss that first initial move like today, they cannot handle themselves. They're going to jump into other plays, try to, make that money back, trying to, catch that move. When I realize that I missed that entry down here and I see that the move is now over, once this moves are over, once this buy side's already been met, I do not care what happens above it, right? This is my edge. This is my edge here. When we have structure, we come down this fair value gap, we have internal break, and this is my edge. Once this is over, right? Once this is over, I do not care about what happens up here. I want more structure to now form up here to then look to take a similar trade like this. Good tool to set yourself 2 to 3 trades only each day. For example, 2 trades AM, 1 in the PM, 1 in AM. If there's a good opportunity to loss on the piece, it gets closed. Yep, 100%. Can I get some words of motivation, bro? I work on a corporate 9 to 5 meeting, typically 9 to 30 to 11. Have you tried trading PM sessions or no? Can you trade in the mornings or no? Meetings 9. What time zone are you in? What time does market open for you? EST. So okay. So you have meetings right at market open. So what I recommend doing, what I recommend doing is at the end of the day, right? When you get back home from work, go back over the market, right? See what you missed out on and replay that entire day. For example, if I was you, right, I get home, I'm like, don't look at the action and replay the entire day. Go back to open and trade the entire day, but speed it up. Go back into the action, say, okay, how would I trade this? Go to like, 3 times. I'll be like, and slow it down. Go to the 1 minute, go to right. And what trades would you look to take, right? And why would you take them? That's going to start building, recognition of price action. Even though you're not actually watching it live, you're going to start to see, recognition of what the market's going to do. And then you can start, maybe looking to trade possibly London session, PM session. If you get back home, you can trade power hour. A lot of the times power hour probably has some good setups if you can find them. Power hour, a lot of the times you'll get, runs on liquidity. So if you have a certain setup, there's definitely going to be opportunity that you can trade in power hour. If not, look to trade London session at night. I got you, bro. New to trading and even on demo today was trying to create opportunity that just don't exist. Yep, exactly. That's the biggest thing. When you're constantly looking to take a trade, you're looking at opportunity that's not there, right? The market will call out to you. Again, don't let the market make you a bitch. Don't let the market be your bitch, right? Or the other way around. Don't be a bitch to the market, right? Be very picky, right? Very, very picky. When the market presents a golden opportunity, you'll know, right? It'll call out to you, right? Because everything will align. And you'll be like, okay, this is a good setup. When you're constantly looking for that trade, it'll always be, some, scuffed setup. Could you quickly explain what your draw is one more time? I was driving. My draw right now, my draw is I have no big draw right now. The only draw that I have is this. NQ 15322.5. This little low right here is the draw on liquidity. But other than that, I need more structure. I need more structure. Took a short a little after the first trade we took on my own. I went back to see why it didn't work out. A hard time figuring out why. Could you figure why? Took a short little after the first trade we took on my own. Send me a screenshot. Oh, is this it right here? Wait, this is I can't copy this. There we go. Market, there's no displacement. There's no displacement from the market structure shift. Notice, what does this look like? This is a liquidity sweep, not a break of structure. Notice, what do we want for a liquidity sweep? If we come down, break this low, and then instantly get bought back up into this range, what is that? That's a sweep. What does a sweep entail? Most of the time, if we sweep this, we're going to go back to what? Buy side. So this is sell side being swept, instant move back up, going back to that new high, right? You would not short this. Now, what would you want to see for a break of structure? Displacement. You'd want to see a big push down through this level, at least a couple candle closes below, and then a move back up to take that short entry. This, to me, looks like clear just liquidity sweep to go back to buy side. Love this because it forces me to be consistent, disciplined, and translated to other parts of my life. Exactly. Yes. I always say, if you're not disciplined outside of the markets, you cannot expect to be disciplined inside the markets. Same thing goes with, every aspect in life. You have to be disciplined with everything you do. And if you understand that and you start being disciplined with everything you do, you'll recognize that you're going to start being a lot more, patient and disciplined when you're actually trading. If, getting your work done on time, going to the gym, focusing on, your work, all that stuff, you're going to be a lot more focused when you actually start trading again. Yeah, you want to see, okay, for Brett, look. So let's say we have, two things, right? What's a valid, break of structure? What's not a valid break of structure? Let's say we have, external swept here, or we have an external level, external level. Okay, let's say we come up, sweep this level, we put in a low, sweep internal, and then, we come down and then come up, right? Internal swept, market structure shift. And then same thing here. Come up. Oh shit. Come up, put in a low, make a high, move down, then come up, right? Which one's valid? Which one would we rather want to take? Left or the right? Yeah, the right, right? Notice this one. What do I want to look for a liquidity sweep? I want to see a break of some sort of lower high and then instant move back up, right? It would also maybe possibly look like this, right? When we look at that screenshot, right? Do you see any sort of displacement through this level? No, it's one candle down and then big candle back up. There's no break of this level, right? There's not a single candle close below this. Same thing with this. No candle close below. This is not a valid market structure shift, right? Eh. Eh. Bing. Right? We don't want that. But if you look at this, dude, why are my charts so fucked right now? Hold on. There we go. Right? This, we have clear market structure shift. We have a clear move down, right? Big break of this level, right? We have multiple, selling pressure going through this level, big displacement, right? That's what we want to see for a valid market structure shift. And then that's a more valid long or valid short for us to take. I got you. I got you. Internal, external liquidity. So internal, external liquidity is literally just whatever range I'm looking at. So if I'm looking at this 15-minute, right? And I go back to, here. And I say, okay, what's my internal? What's my external? Okay, well, if I'm looking at this specific time frame, my external is going to be my external levels, external buy side. This would be external sell side, right? If I'm looking at this chart, right? My high and my low, I have a range. What would be my internal? This would be my internal sell side, right? Because we swept these little lows here. We have 2 equal lows. Internal sell side. This could be maybe internal buy side, right? Anything inside of this range. So again, it goes with anything I'm looking at. If I zoom into the 5-minute now and I go into this, I would say, okay, what's my internal levels, or what would my external levels be? Okay, my external level would be this obvious low, right? We put in a low here. Okay, what are my external levels? Maybe, or this would be internal. Well, you get what I'm saying, right? This could be, internal buy side, right? Anything inside of this range. Does that make sense? Right? Like this would be internal sell side. On a bigger time frame, if I'm looking at this 15-minute, this would be an internal sell side level. But if I zoom in, this could maybe be an external level, right? That's why I want to see what happens when we react to this level first. That's why a lot of the things have to do with different time frame bias. Because even though we sweep this level, we might end up getting a setup that could work out long, but it would be even more beneficial if we came down here, sweat maybe this low, and then look to take a long. Because on a bigger time frame, if we draw in our actual external levels instead of my internal level, I can see that discounts down here, and I would rather want to see us retrace discount and then take a long than look to just see this internal level being swept. I don't think the short we took today was not silver bullet. How do you need external, internal, just to enter off? So do you need external, internal, or just enter off internal? You don't need I want to see some sort of external liquidity being swept if I was gonna take a short. But I'd want to see both, but you don't have to see internal sometimes. Best time frame to look at market ship, or just it depends on whatever the sweep is. If it's like a 15-minute high, then I'll look for 1 minute. Most of the time I want to see it on the 1 minute. Make a future video on future market setups. Yeah, I got you. I'm actually going to make my next video I'm making is actually on understanding market structure shift to break a structure and understanding, which ones are valid, which ones aren't. So very similar to what you just asked, right? Understanding displacement, stuff like that. Can you identify a couple market structure shift? I feel like I believe I can spot them and then usually aren't valid. All right. So for example, right? Looking at this trade, looking at the trade that we would have taken in the morning, we have internal liquidity being swept, right? We have a clear buy side level. We have a clear trend, right? Clear look at, like, we look back, big bull trend, right? I expect us to, if we end up holding this 15-minute fair value gap, I'd want to see, now that we're in here, we've swept these internal level, we're in a 15-minute fair value gap, we're in a BPR, right? We've had, this past fair value, inverse fair value gap here as well, showing strength, right? We have a lot of support here. Once we're in this level, I want to see internal break of structure and then internal liquidity being swept. So looking at the 5-minute fair value gap, what this is literally in a like textbook model, textbook model. We have a range here. We have clear buy side up here, right? And we have these clear lows. We have all these kind of stacked lows down here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have all these kind of lows down here. Notice what happens. Big move down. Instantly gets bought back up inside this range. Once we come down, this is obviously a sweep, right? This is that move. This is the manipulation move, right? This is what we call that manipulation move. Instantly gets bought back up. What do we want to see when we get to this level? I want to see a big push through this, right? Now, you might be thinking, what's the difference between this and this? Why did I not expect this to do the exact same thing and go right back down, right? Like it did here. because you have to have context. We just swept external level. We just pulled back to discount. We're in a 15-minute fair value gap. That's why this is the manipulation move. This is the actual market structure shift move. So if we zoom out, looking at a 5-minute, what do we have? Big displacement, right? Notice we don't come up to this level and then instantly reject back down. We come up, break all of these highs that we have here with big displacement, right? We get a big move to the upside, pull back to the 5-minute fair value gap twice, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we ended up, bouncing all the way towards buy side, which would be the draw on liquidity once we ended up sweeping this low, sweep internal manipulation move, break a structure, pull back to fair value gap. Once we get all of these things combined, the draw on liquidity then becomes whatever that recent high is. Most productive session this week. So much value, great explanation. Much love. That was heat. Thank you. I got you. Any other questions? Will not be missing a single one of these. That's what I'm saying, bro. People don't take advantage of the charting sessions. It makes me upset how many people, come to the live sessions and not the charting sessions, because this is where all the value's at. All right, guys. Gonna end the session there. People showing their failed trade and explaining context is super helpful. Yes, again, that's what these trading sessions are for, right? Charting sessions. If you guys make a trade and you make a mistake or it doesn't work out or it's a good trade, you can come to me. I can look at it, tell you maybe what the problem was, maybe what you did right, what you did wrong. Same thing with me. When I make a mistake like today, we get to go back, look at what we did right, what we did wrong. Again, I'm not here to put on, some sort of, persona to show you guys I am the least person to do that. I am here to be the best trader I can possibly be. And if I want to be the best trader I can possibly be, I have to admit to my mistakes. And I don't care. I don't have an ego. I don't care. I will show you my mistake because I want everybody to learn, not just myself, but if I make a mistake, I want you guys to see the mistake as well so we can all learn from it as well, right? This is a team, not an individual effort. We're here to work together, help each other grow. I learned more in this session than I have in the last weeks and hours of study. All right, guys. Enjoy the rest of your night. I will see you all tomorrow morning. If anybody has any extra questions, always feel free to just at me in the Discord and I'll get back to you if you have, any questions. So enjoy the rest of your night, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.